The idea of puppets and players, a core theme of No Game No Life in general, but it gets a particular focus in Volume 5 of the light novel, which focuses upon the Flugel, the race on Discord that very much personifies this idea. Those who are acting within a certain realm and only have certain limitations. They can't see beyond that, and they are limited by the strings that bind them. There's only so much that they can do. In the case of the Flugel, they were a race that was created for a single purpose. They were created to wage war, to kill gods in the name of their master, Artosh. But when their master was killed, they lost their purpose and had no idea what to do. Where their strings allowed them to go now did not exist anymore, and they were lost. Many of them decided to end their own lives, but in desperation, Azrael, the leader of the Flugel at the time, saved their entire race by saying that they needed to search for the reason as to why they lost, the reason why their master was defeated. Azrael never really thought that she would ever find that reason, never find the answer as to why the Flugel still exists. If anyone, she thought Jibril could find that answer. And after 6,000 long years after the end of the Great War, Jibril did indeed find the answer. That answer being that there is no answer. Even if you don't live for a specific purpose, you can still live for yourself. You can still go about life and do what it is that you want to do. You don't have to live bound by strings. You can have the freedom to live as you want. This is part of the idea of puppets and players. Honestly, there are many different interpretations to it. Whether the interpretation is the restrictions placed upon a person, either by themselves or society, or an overarching master, or that there is someone constantly pulling the strings whether you know it or not. And then there are the players, those who are supposedly pulling the strings. But that isn't necessarily my interpretation of it. Not necessarily that the players are the ones always pulling the strings, because the core idea of puppets and players comes to mind when it is referenced to Sora and Shiro. Sora even said this way back in Volume 1, at the beginning of the anime, that Shiro is the real deal. She is a player. And Sora had always thought of himself as a puppet. This is something that is explored in the prologue and epilogue of Volume 5 of the light novel, as we are seeing Clammy go through Sora's memories, that he always saw himself as being bound by these strings. Before he met Shiro, Sora was just a puppet. He was putting on a performance for everyone around him, acting as he thought they wanted him to. That's why he got so good at reading people. That's why he's able to get into people's heads, because he can see what other people want, what they expect, and peel back the layers. He was nothing but a puppet until he met Shiro, someone who he saw as a player. Now, Shiro was like 3 years old at the time. It's not like she was the one pulling the strings of everything, but she is someone who does not have those limitations. She is not bound by the strings that he felt as if he was bound by. As Clammy put it in the prologue, the term genius exists to ascertain that a puppet is not a person. A genius is one that doesn't have the same restrictions as others. Well, they're naturally gifted. They're put on a pedestal. People consider them above and beyond what they themselves can achieve. With approval, geniuses are met with praise. But when they are something to be shunned, when people look down upon them, then genius is almost considered an insult. And this is ultimately why Sora rejected his old world, is because that world rejected his sister and the genius that she was, the ability that she had to go above and beyond what normal people were capable of. But now in Discord, she is free of that. And Sora himself is free of his shackles as well, free of the strings that bind him. He is a puppet that has chosen to become a player. Now, according to Clammy, he went through immeasurable amount of difficulty to achieve that feat. To cut his strings and rise up to become a player. And in Clemmy's words, even surpass a player. Surpass the geniuses, which is what he has been shown to do throughout the entirety of the No Game No Life story. From the beginning of the story up until where we are currently on the channel, and far beyond that, as we will cover in the future of No Game No Life. Sora has risen above being a puppet and is surpassing the players that he encounters. But it's not only that. He's not only surpassing the players, he's creating new ones. He is freeing everyone from the shackles that bind them, from the strings that limit their capabilities. This is most blatantly seen when it comes to the Flugel. Jabril went and found the answer that the entire race of Flugel sought. There is no answer, but the one to bring them that answer was Sora. She brought it to Jabril. Jabril shared that knowledge with the rest of the Flugel, opening their eyes, and eventually it was Sora that pounded it into Azrael, the answer that she sought, the way to move forward, and ultimately freed her from her shackles, freed her from those strings that bound her, admittedly by restricting her even further, by limiting her with the capabilities of an humanity, losing all of the immense power that she had as a Flugel, though that was also by her choice at the end of the game. And the Flugel aren't the first that this has happened to, and they certainly won't be the last. Every time Sora shows up, demonstrates what he is capable of as just a lowly humanity in everyone else's eyes are opened by that fact. The werebeasts, the people of Elkia, Clammy and Feel first and foremost in the series. Arguably Stephanie Dola as well, but Steph is still a Steph. She still will rise above and potentially be one of the greatest underdogs in the No Game No Life series, but that's a topic for a different video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like that. But Clammy, in particular, is a puppet, was a puppet, in more ways than one. Not only being limited on Disboard by being an humanity and thinking that humanity could only rise so far, being exceed rank 16, the bottom of the totem pole, but not only that, being born as a slave in Elven society. There is no further that a slave could go. Thankfully for her, she has Feel Nirvalin at her side, yet another genius, the, in my opinion, second player in the game of No Game No Life. Feel is one of those geniuses, a hexcaster, far and above the best of Elven society, able to weave 6 rites at the exact same time, something that quite possibly no other living elf is capable of at this point in time. Feel is a genius. She, in my opinion, would be considered a player, and yet it is Clammy who is starting to rise above. It is an interesting dynamic that the players, Feel and Shiro, are following the puppets, and it is those puppets that are carving the way forward for the players to follow. Clammy for Feel, and Sora for Shiro. They are the ones who are going through the hardship and are clawing their way up to become players, to become more than puppets. What is easy for the geniuses is incredibly difficult for those who aren't born with the innate talent, the innate ability to do what others could only dream of doing. But they are not at impossible heights. Even a regular puppet can rise to become a player and even surpass them. It will take great difficulty, and you probably won't be able to do it in the exact same ways, because everything is easy to the genius. But that doesn't mean it is impossible for the puppet. Might take some roundabout ways, some extra strategy, possibly some trickery and deception at some times, at least in the scale of No Game No Life, but it is certainly possible to rise above. And this theme is one of the core themes of No Game No Life. It is most represented when it comes to the Flugel and their entire situation, but it is something that will be seen as we move forward throughout No Game No Life. There are more people, more entire races that will have those strings that bind them, cut and freed from their restrictions by Sora. Both Sora and Shiro in particular, but it is really Sora that is the protagonist of the series. He is the driving force that is causing the change in all of Disboard. He is the catalyst that will change the world. Him and Shiro together are necessary. They both need each other to exist. They are two players in one, but it is Sora that is the main driving force. He is the one that, through his words, through his actions, are changing the hearts of people, of entire races, and is bringing the world together. Some eggs are going to be more hard to crack than others, but through the actions of a single puppet, the world of players will be born. And that is a sentiment that I absolutely love about No Game No Life. This may be the first video that I'm making on this topic, but it certainly won't be the last, as we cover different races that are encountered in games, the situations that they live in, and the difficulties that they've had since the time of the Great War, and how they're currently struggling in society, how Sora and Shiro will enter the fray and give them a new perspective on their lives, on their standing in the world, and the abilities that they are capable of. There's a lot more to discuss. And if you guys want to see more videos like that, make sure to subscribe to the Daily Flugel, because there will be plenty more on the way. We're only at volume 5 out of 12 thus far, and that's not even including the extra material outside those 12 main volumes. There's plenty more to come. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think of the idea of puppets and players. Is there anything that you think I missed in this video? Anything you want to add, at least in the context of volume 5 of the light novel and before? There are other things and other interactions that can be involved in this entire concept that have happened up until this point, but I wanted to focus more on Phil and Clammy, Sora and Shiro, and the overall race of the Flugel and their perspectives. I do want to make a video dedicated to the Flugel and Azrael in particular, and how their perspectives have changed and the situations that they went through, but I want to cover a bit more of the light novel first before actually making that video, so I didn't quite address it as much as I could have in this one. In particular, we need to cover the Great War if we're going to talk about the Flugel, because, well, the Flugel are practically the central driving force of the war. They are the race that was born for that purpose, created by the god of war. There's a lot to discuss there, so there's still a lot to look forward to. As I mentioned, if you want to see those videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to talk to me live, I also stream on Twitch a couple times a week and would love to see you all there. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ashente.